2. And we're on. Hello, welcome to podcast episode 148 of Robodope Boxing, where the 2 days bring you an overdue review from the weekend's action, for the last 2 weekends' action, should I say. If you're new to the channel, where's my little thumbnail? If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. There we go. Got that out of the way. David boy, how's life been treating you, mate, for the last 2 weeks?
All right, mate. I'm still off the sauce. I've not had a drink in 4 weeks. I know, it's unbelievable. I think I've not gone this long without drinking since I was about 14.
I'm not applauding you, by the way.
No, I know. I'm ashamed of myself, but Lee Harper's just put something in the group for next Wednesday for a Ruby Murray down in Perryvale. And so if I get with him, that duck's going to break. But I was hoping to save it for Becky's party, because I'm obviously coming to that, and that's going to be a heavy one. So I was thinking that'd be the next time I drink. But with Lee putting an invite out for a Ruby, that could all change. And I might need it, to build the stamina.
Have you tried a non-alcoholic beer?
No.
Just so you feel like you're involved socially. I know it's not the same. You didn't catch me drinking that stuff, by the way. I'm just trying to help you.
No, I don't think that do it. I drink purely to get pissed.
He wouldn't allow you anyway. He wouldn't allow you to drink that stuff anyway.
Never. And Frank's going to be there by the sounds of things, so it can only go one way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, mate, I've been pretty good. I've not got many stories. Usually they involve the drink, but so they will return. But I've had Arsenal women's and then going to see my dad. So yeah, nothing too exciting. Arsenal women have been touch and go. They lost. They never lost. They drew 1-1, and the last game we went to was Aston Villa. In a late equaliser from Villa in the 93rd, 4th minute, whatever it was, and they got stuffed by Man City. Me and Lola watched that on Saturday. So yeah, not much happening, mate. Grafting. I've done a few night shifts, which is why we weren't on this last week.
Yeah.
But that's me completely done now. I thought I was done, but that's me definitely done now. So that's out the way.
Unless another pound note comes sniffing your way, mate, and then you dog the boxing podcast and go where the money is.
Well, yeah, like I said, I would love to get paid to do this. This is our passion. This would be. I'll drop everything if this became something we could do, but unfortunately, it hasn't come yet. I don't know why, because I think it's great, but
it's big market, isn't it?
There's loads of people doing it, but yeah, nothing to report, mate. All quiet on the Western Front. What about you? I know your weekends have involved drinking. I know they have involved Stourbridge women.
Yes,
I know all this. So yeah, keep us up to date, mate. Where you been and what you've been doing?
Well, it's a rinse and repeat from the last time we spoke, really. The teams are still losing. I'm still drinking. I think I can go, mate. I didn't go until 2:30 this morning.
Oh,
yeah. An hour's sleep. Everyone knows my story, what I do like with the kids in terms of lack of sleep, football, and up all day drinking. Had an hour yesterday. Went down to the football club after. There was only me and my mate and the barman there. Ended up staying to silly o'clock. When you're not pissed, right? You don't feel pissed, but because I had no sleep, my eyes were so fuzzy and blurry, and I was really struggling to keep them open. But I didn't want to go home. I had a vodka and Red Bull. Wide awake.
Oh, don't.
Wide awake.
When I done them night shifts, I had 2 3 o'clocks finishes in a row. That was the worst nights I'd had out of the 10. The rest of them I was home by 12. But I drank a Red Bull in the morning because I got home at 3 and I was up at 6 to go to my normal work. I had a Red Bull in the morning and I drank like black coffees most of the day. By the time I went to the shift that night, I was fucking shaking. You're not
used to it. That's why. I'm new to it, but it still works.
I never drink that shit, and I tell the kids not to drink that shit. Honestly, I was fucking shaking like some sort of crack addict.
No, that's just because you haven't had a drink for a long time. That's the DTs.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was the caffeine.
Yeah, it probably is, mate.
But mate, that stuff's poison, pure poison. So yeah. And then you couldn't sleep when you got home, I imagine.
No, luckily I did go to sleep, but it kept me awake for the rest of the night. Do you know what I mean? The rest of the morning, should I say?
Question is, and I'm sure the listeners are going to want to. Did you get a bollocking when you got home for staying out?
She was fast asleep.
Oh, fair enough.
So you leave it as long as you can, so you know she's going to be asleep. So you come in. As long as you don't make a noise.
Was she dogging you hours before to come home? Before she went to bed, or
no, there was a bit of a temper tantrum because I went out on a Sunday after I'd already been out, so that didn't go down too well. But yeah, I'm not even married, so I haven't got the ring or the piece of paper to to say that married life is shite. But
she's your significant other, mate, and
she's my significant other, yeah.
So they still rule the roost.
They do, unfortunately. I've got my fingers crossed as I'm saying that. But no, when I watched, obviously, our sponsors, just a quick story if anyone's interested in our sponsors, we're going to say it anyway, because we're here to plug them as well. Went to watch Isla yesterday. They're not doing too well, the standard team. As I said before, they lost so many players, won a major rebuild, got absolutely stuffed yesterday. But it is early days of the season, so hopefully things will get better. And obviously, our Abbey, our other sponsor, plays for Reading United. I've just come away from the TV before doing this podcast. They played in the FA Cup yesterday to qualify for the first round proper. They scored in the last minute to make it 4-4 away at Crusaders, which is a team up in this part of the country, just outside Birmingham. Took it to penalties, won on penalties, and they've been gifted an away tie against a team called Sheffield in the first round proper. So they're tier 6. They're playing against a tier 4 team, which would be a good test for Abbey and the girls. So I'm looking forward to that. I probably will go to that, to be fair, to go and see it. And then we've been drawn against Lincoln United away. So yeah, mate, just been watching the FA Cup draw. It's weird. It's really, really weird because I fell out of love with men's football through VAR and things like that. I don't watch it anymore. And I found a new love with women's football. And watching that draw, Dave, it's like when I used to watch Fulham with my dad, watching the cup draw. I don't get it wrong. I've been out the piss last night. I've got to touch the DTs. I still feel a little bit pissed. So my body's going up and down as it is. But I felt nervous watching the draw. And it's like, this is my passion. Boxing's my number one, but I've got a passion like for grassroots semi-pro women's football.
That's crazy, what it is. What it is it's raw. It's raw, and it's very much how you felt before the Premier League come on, because the Premier League's all razzle and tazzle, and it's very, it's theatre. It's not just about football. And I find this with the women's football now. I know Arsenal are a big club, and we go to that and stuff, but it feels like that. It's not driven by money, and it's not so, and it's got that feel to it, and that's what I think is the key to it, is that it's not, I'm sure at some point in time, money will get involved and it will do that, but at the moment it's very, like you say, grassroots. It's very raw. It's very old school types of, like, and that's what it feels like. Any team, like, you don't have to have the best player, the most expensive player, to win it. When you're not in the Foresters, we're winning the European Cup, and all these teams that, they just had a group of players that could play, and they can go and do great things. The Lisbon Lions, all that sort of stuff, which you don't get now because money rules the world.
That's right.
And that's how I feel about the women's.
It's not the working men's game anymore. It's the working girls' game, and literally working girls' game, because all these girls who play for Stour and Abby's team and whatnot, they've all got full-time jobs playing for the weekends. But that's basically mine and Dave's weekend summed up. Let's jump into a bit of boxing, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want to bore you too much with women's football. We've got a couple of reviews to go over. We obviously didn't do a podcast last weekend, so we didn't make any previews and predictions going into that, but we will speak about what we saw up in Scotland as well. But we will jump back 2 weeks to Sheffield. Sean McComb versus Ben Crocker. So the IBF European Championship belt, whatever you want to make of that, mate. Up at £140, super lightweight. We did say going into this, we thought it'd be a bit of a stinker.
Yeah.
Both guys are not really punchers. We did class it as a kind of European chess match, as I put my banner there. McComb wins the European chess match, which he did. Unanimous decision on all three judges' cards, mate, 96 to 93. However, the first round, he got put down, McComb, and I thought, wow, here we fucking go. Yeah. Ben Crocker's actually throwing shots, landing. He's looking for the knockout. And after that, it went a bit stale, mate. What did you make of the fight? I've got no complaints with McComb winning. I thought he controlled the range very well. That loop in left, cracked Crocker continuously. Not a lot of output from Crocker. It didn't really deliver, but it's not one for the ages, is it? Let's be honest. It kind of played out how we thought, but McComb done quite a lot more than Crocker to get that unanimous decision.
I disagree, and I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I think it was a lot closer than the scoreline suggested. I think McComb got hit with way too many shots, clean shots as well. His hands were very low. He got caught on the way in a fair lot. Don't get me to fair, but for me, he did throw more shots, but he was missing. Crocker did slip a few, and make him miss, and was trying to counter him. I think the right person won. But I believe it was a lot closer. And it's got nothing to do with the knockdown. The knockdown was a heavy knockdown as well. Caught flush, square on. Took the legs away from him. And that was a hefty knockdown. It took him a few rounds to recover from that. And that's where I think...
That's what I thought he was going to spice up then. You could tell he was hurt. And I thought, Crocker, you're going to go for it early.
Yeah, but that's where I think Crocker bagged some rounds. In the early, I do think that the classier work did come from McComb. It wasn't the McComb that we'd seen him in with Barbosa. Definitely not, because that McComb loses to Barbosa convincingly for me. Maybe he'd stepped up. It was his chance at glory. A big name, and he stepped up. I just felt that he got caught with too many shots on the way in. He didn't seem to me to be as slick as what we would expect. He got caught flush so many times on the way in. So it wasn't the greatest performance from McComb. Now,
it wasn't a great fight. That's my point.
No, it wasn't a great fight. It wasn't a great fight. They both got caught with silly clean shots. But but I'm with you. The fireworks happened in round one, and it turned into an okay fight. It didn't touch the like the touch paper, as they would say. But I thought it was closer than what it was. I think it was 96-93.
Yeah,
on a couple of cards. It wasn't for me. It wasn't a great performance from McComb. Obviously, I was heavy on him getting the rematch with Barbosa because I thought he won that fight, and I was on their Twitter giving it some big stuff. That version of McComb, if he was ever to get that rematch, doesn't beat Barbosa any day of the week for me. He was too open. Did he take this lightly? It's very difficult, I would say, to get up for Ben Crocker when you've tasted a Barbosa fight, and that's okay. I can accept that, but
it's a come down, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it is, and was that a factor because he wasn't compact for me. He's always had the movement, the lateral movement, like light on his feet, up on his toes, slick. For me, he was that sort of he had flashes of him up on his toes, but he was wide open, and he got caught with too many silly shots for me. He done just enough to win, made it harder than it needed to be, but it wasn't a great performance from McComb.
No, I'm not going to pander to you because it's good that we do disagree. You are right. He did get caught a lot. I just think from probably round 6 up to round
agreed.
10, I just think he controlled the fight. It got caught, but there was hardly any output from Crocker. Yes, I know there's clean and effective work there, but in those 3 minutes, I just thought McComb did more.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
No issue with with him winning, but
no, but like I say, I think that Ben Crocker bagged the earlier rounds, and he's got a 10-8
rounds. Yeah, I'm not doubting it at all.
He got a 10-8. I agree with you that I think it took a few rounds for McComb to recover. So he was better down the stretch. I'll give you that. But that's for me makes it closer. Now I'm not saying he didn't win the fight, but I think it's 96-93, maybe a little bit wide. But then saying that it's only a round difference if you 96-94 and there's only a round in it. Do you know what I mean? So that's fair. It's fair enough. But I just felt it was a little bit closer. But yeah, it was an okay scrap. Joe, what I have to admit this, it was okay. But it was better than I thought it would be, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I was a bit
more action. Yeah,
it was a little bit more output than I expected it to be. So although it was okay, I was probably thinking it was going to be worse when we reviewed it.
Would you recommend people to go and watch it though? We haven't seen it. No,
I would definitely get them to look at the knockdown because that was a great shot that was thrown. He was caught square on with his hands down. You don't have to be the biggest puncher to do that, and Hammy Mungai found that out. But he was caught square on, and it was a hefty knockdown. To be fair to him, he done well to get up from that. His legs did buckle. He went down heavy. So I would say go and see that because that was a great shot. But now the rest of the fight, you could take it or leave it.
Yeah, but that was for the IBF Intercontinental in a European belt, should I say, which absolutely means nothing. If you go and have a look at the ranking system, McComb's not even ranked in the top 15. So winning that now, he should be ranked. Obviously, play 3% of his purse. But I look at that, and then I look up to the top end of the table. I look at the champion in Richardson Hitchens, and you just said there that version of McComb is even if he gets anywhere near the likes of a Richardson Hitchens, it's chalk and cheese. Has he gone backwards since that Barbosa fight? You probably nailed it. He's jumping from an Arnold Barbosa down to a Ben Crocker. And that's no disrespect to Ben
especially in a Barbosa fight that he won. Do you know what I mean? That
exactly.
The wind out your sails. You know what I mean? You may never be the same after that, and it's very hard to get back to that when you think you won and you've been screwed on the cards, which he was. And then you're fighting, no disrespect to Ben Crocker, but that level of opponent, you subconsciously you've got to be thinking, Well,
let's see what he does next. Then let's see what he does next.
Well, he's got a trinket, hasn't he?
Yeah. So when I think when the rankings are reformed at first of every month, I think that's the same with the IBF. Hopefully he will be in the top 15. I mean, if he's got an IBF belt and he's not ranked, then they're robbing bastards anyway. But if he's not ranked after that, they're taking the fucking piss. And I'd bin the belt. But you know my opinion on bin the belts anyway. But yeah, good luck to both of them going forward. But it kind of, as me and Dave said there, it kind of played out the way we thought, but just a little bit more extra spice with the knockdown and whatnot. So co-main, Tysie Gallagher defending her British and Commonwealth super bantamweight titles. Unanimous point decision win here, mate, against unbeaten Ellie Helliwell. We spoke about backstory when we previewed it. I didn't realise going into this as well, whether it was kept a secret. I saw nothing on Google or anywhere like that. Tysie Gallagher's mother-in-law was killed back at the beginning of the year in January. Didn't know anything about that at all. So she has got a lot of baggage with her. Great support, as we said, come to cheer her on. But watching her, I've read there so many options for Tysie at home and abroad, because GBM, as you said the other week, are building a stable, and they can build a little star here in Tysie Gallagher. She's got the, I don't like using the word X factor, if you like, because I think it's a bit shit. There's something about this girl where she's got those belts now, Dave. She looked very comfortable last Saturday against Helliwell. She's got options in your Molly McCann, which I spoke about, which is commercially very, very good. She's got great British fights in the sense of Fran Hennessy, who's ranked a couple of places below her. That will turn heads. That can go on a BBC show, or do you know what I mean? And she's obviously got like Ramla Ali, who's gone over to MVP. You obviously can get Tysie over to the States on a Jake Paul card, fight around Ramla Ali. And obviously the champ is Eddie Scotney. Yeah, lots of British options there for her, money-making options in a small pool that doesn't make a lot of money. I think there's something special about Tysie Gallagher. And, obviously we're here to talk about boxing, of course. I thought it was very easy for her. I love her on your toes, feinting style, point scoring, single shots. Helliwell, she tried her best. Yeah. But again, we spoke about in the last fight, mate. Unanimous decision. Yeah, I thought it was very easy. I thought it was very easy for her. So yeah, she's beyond this level for me, Dave. Yeah. We need contenders to face, and she's the champion, so she's the A side. Apart from obviously Ellie Scotney holding all the belts, three of the belts. Sorry, but what did you make of Tysie on the weekend?
Very good.
I love her a little bit in terms of her could be GBM's biggest star.
Yeah, I agree. And I want GBM are building, and but you've got promoters and working together now. So I want them to be more involved in that, so that their stable is going up against, other fighters from other stables and getting a bit involved. So at the moment, it seems to be a little bit in-house, which is probably not their complete fault. They're new to it. But Tysie Gallagher, I think she's going places. Like we said there, the pool between, the great and the not so great are miles apart in there. There doesn't seem to be any middle ground, and she's proved in that performance for me that she's beyond that. The names you said there are great, and there'll be great fights, and and this is what that division needs. This is what women's divisions need. They need to pack the divisions with quality opponents. And
sorry, mate. I'm not cherry picking going down either. These are all around the same. They're all in the same rank 1 to 5. Do you know what I mean? They're all next to each other. So it should be you fight her and then her fights her. Do you know what I mean? Going like meritocracy, because they're all around the same ranking position.
What I worry about. Yeah, what I worry about is that they're kept apart for a certain amount of time to build, and so they end up fighting, fighters that are not at their level. But again, on the flip side of that, and we spoke to Emma Dolan last week or the week before, and it's activity from. I honestly feel sorry for them. Like I say, GBM seem to be doing a good job of keeping them active. I've got to admit, but there's not enough activity in the women's game, and so what they don't have time to, have 3 fights a year and fight opponents like that, and then and build towards something. They got to take opportunities when they come, and what I worry about is that the opportunities are not there because they're not active enough, and I don't want that for Tysie. I think she could build and really build especially from that performance and going forward and be a name, because there's not many names and we need them, and we need them in there, and she could be one of them. I was impressed with you. Her boxing skills. Very good, up on her toes. Like you said, it's single shots, but it's quality shots. It's spiteful, it's accurate, and it's eye catching from Tysie. And I was impressed. And Yeah, and the problem we've got in the women's game is that because there's not many in there, we want to rush them to be. It doesn't take long to you get a few fights and you can be a world champion. But the opportunities have got to be there, and I hope they do come. But there's some big fights. Like you said there, Fran Hennessy's on the same thing. The same thing as well. She's not active enough. She comes out and she does that dance, Soldier Boy and all this sort of stuff. I mean, when was the last time we see it?
Yeah,
I worry for the women's game. I really do, because there's some brilliant women out there, and for me, they're just not out enough. And I do want to speak about British boxing and stuff at some point in time because. And the women are falling into it. Riyadh season have been great in making the super fights and the fights that we so-called want. But in that, the women have suffered for me, and British boxing as a whole has suffered for me for that, because the fights that you would have in Britain are being put on a Riyadh card, so that means that there's no shows it. And I'm standing by that. I love what Turkey Al Sheikh's done in the super fights, but it's had a negative effect on British boxing. If you think from say 10 years ago, when Eddie Hearn was on Sky Sports, there were shows on every other week. They were doing Friday and Saturday, sometimes even a Sunday on a bank holiday. I think it's had a detrimental effect on British boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree, mate. I totally agree. And obviously the lack of champions we've got, British champions as well, is another talking point to throw in there. But just on Tysie, before we move away, mate, and you mentioned Fran Hennessy there. You think with Ben Shalom, obviously he's linking up with Turkey now, but he's got that 4-fight deal, isn't he, on the BBC for the moment? So obviously the BBC are, whether you like them or not, they're a massive platform still, especially here in the UK and possibly worldwide. So if you think about Fraser Clark fighting against Jamie TKV coming up for the British title, now that's going to have eyeballs on it, especially from the older generation that want to watch a bit of boxing that's free to wear. You sell the fuck out of that. As an example, just say for instance, Big Fraser wins, he's got that British title, and he gets another shot on, he gets another time slot on the BBC next time out. You can do the same with bringing Tysie Gallagher over onto a boxer show against Fran Hennessy and sell it, get eyeballs on that. Get a lot of eyeballs on a British title fight. Tysie Gallagher versus Fran Hennessy on the Beeb, millions of people watching. You could sell it commercially like that as well. There's again, I was talking about options, home and abroad, and on terrestrial television for her as well now. Because with the backstory, the way she comes across, the way that she boxes, she's a very sellable girl. And this is what I'm saying. And people may be watching this laughing. And you think, who else have GBM got in their stable that's going to be a star or is a star already? She's the talk of the town at GBM for me. She really is irrelevant of all the male fighters, because they're building from scratch, which David elaborated there. But she's the one that's kind of standing out. She's on all the shows. She's kind of, she's not a main event just yet, but she can be. So I think the future is bright for her, mate. I really do.
I do.
It's very bright for Tysie Gallagher.
I agree.
She brings it as well. So very impressed with her. Very impressed with her.
Yeah, I agree.
But you get my point as well about the BBC and
What I worry about the BBC, I know we're going off tangent here a little bit, but what I worry about is it on BBC Two or is it going to be a red button? Because if you've got a red button to go onto it, I think that's where the problems will lie. If they put it on BBC Two and sell it as it's on BBC Two, this is the boxing, it's British title. But if they say you have to push the red button, I think that's going to be an issue. But that's just my not for boxing fans, not for boxing fans like us who will go and push the red button, but and go in and look for it. I feel like if it's not bang on BBC Two, which I believe that's what it's going to be on, and it's on there and there's a slot, I think that will affect the numbers.
From what, I agree. From what I understand, for the Fraser Clark TKV fight, the undercard fights will be on red button or BBC's version on YouTube, wherever. Then the co-main and main will be on BBC Two.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. From
what I understand, through,
Yeah, fair enough. But if it was just solely on the red button, I think it would struggle.
No, it's not. Not as far as I know. That's why our Uncle Frank was having a moan up, wasn't he? Because it clashes the same night as Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker. And that's obviously behind two paywalls, where this is behind none.
I think the fact that that's pay-per-view, I think is going to be an issue. I think people have been kicking up about that being pay-per-view. And the fact that then he's got BBC Two show the British title fight for free.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Talking about eyeballs, free eyeballs. So
yeah.
So fair play to Tysie Gallagher, and let's see where she goes next as well. So it was very limited 2 weekends ago, but the last fight we spoke about, mate, was Eimantas Stanionis going over to his native Lithuania on the Saturday night, taking on, I haven't even read the African dude's name down because I don't think we need to speak about him in terms of we again kind of planned it or predicted it, previewed it, how it went, how it played out. There's levels to this game. Stanionis, obviously, that arena he's in is fucking packed. Everybody must have come out their house to watch him. I mean, I did struggle to get footage for that. It was a hard find. I had to watch it the next day to find some random. It was all in like in a foreign language, etc. But I obviously managed to get to watch it. Yeah. But we said coming off that Boots Ennis defeat, the first time we'd been outboxed, first time we'd been dropped, first time we'd been stopped. How would it affect him? And these African kids, no fundamentals, but they come over, heads like slabs, as you said, and they throw like fuck. Very powerful. He just done exactly what we're accustomed to see him doing. European style, down, knock fuck out the body. You've got to take it off. You've got to take it off to McKenzie for staying in there for how long it lasted. I've written there, guys. Stanionis nailed on to be a world champion again. He's still a world-class operator. At not once, I think McKenzie probably. I think he landed an uppercut once or twice. Probably rocked him back a bit, shook it off, and then just went back to work. He's got a good torso, hard body, hard chin. But when we're talking skill level, it was chalk and cheese. It's good to see him back out again. But he was going for the knockout, especially round 10. He was looking for that knockout on that homecoming. It didn't come. But the tale of the story, mate, really, there are levels to this. And Stanionis has showed that he's still world class, in my opinion.
It was a complete shutout. It was a homecoming for him. He had a big crowd. He obviously wanted to put on a show. Boxing skills wise, for me, he did. Yes, he didn't get the highlight reel or the finish that he would have liked to have got, in front of a big crowd. But boxing skills wise, he was miles apart, mate. Stratospheres apart. Like you said, there, knocked the fuck out the body. He got caught early, but he sort of shook it off, and then as the rounds went on, it was a complete shutout, and And he was throwing every shot in the repertoire in the end. Couldn't miss. Yeah, to be fair, I say he did do well. The African fella to stay in it. Referee could have jumped in late on for me. There was no point in that fight where he could win. And and Stanionis, I agree. It was a really good performance. He showed that he's got skills still, and I still think that he's up there. I still think he's with the right opponent. He'd definitely be world champion again.
I think it's nailed on. I think it's nailed on, Dave, in the sense that, again, we're going to poo-poo the champions that are there. Don't get it wrong, welterweight, there are some great contenders in there, but champion-wise, it's rubbish. Yeah. So, again, Luis Crocker, Rolly Marrero, and Mario Barrios. So, Barrios and Rolly being PBC fighters, alongside Stanionis, who's a PBC fighter, you know where I'm going, voluntaries, keep it in-house. He'll be world champion again, mate, because he beats all them. Most contenders beat all them champions. They just do.
And then Pacquiao's going to fight Rolly, and
and what brand of promotional company does Pacquiao fight when he comes back?
I think he's fighting under his own. He's opened his own promotional company now.
Yeah, it'd be co-pro though, wouldn't it? Because Rolly's PBC should be a co-promotion thing. But you get my point.
But you're right. With the champions that you rattled off there, for me, he beats all of them.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that's what he's nailed on to be again. He's a world-class operator. He still is. Losing to Boots it's no shame. He's fighting this weekend, Boots. He's moved up in weight class. But I just can't see any of those guys. Brian Norman Jr. is a different kettle of fish because we know he's got that equalizer. He's got that one-punch power, and he's getting better by every fight he fights. He's getting better and better and better. So he's a dangerous motherfucker. And he's the best out of all the champions. I think most boxing fans would agree to that.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's enough left in the tank from Stanionis. At the age of 31, he's still got good 5 or 6 years left, mate. Keep him busy, keep him active. I like what I see. I like what I see. So anything else on Stanionis, mate? Because it was pretty one-sided, as you said. It was a shutout.
It was a one-sided shutout, one-sided beatdown. What we expected. I did expect him to get the stoppage, but it didn't come. But so the African fella was tougher than we thought. But like I said, he went through every combination in the book in the end. Yeah, easy.
Easy work, definitely, mate. Right, let's jump into the weekend that's just gone. As I said, me and Dave didn't make a prediction because we didn't do a podcast. I was at work. You were texting me during this fight. Unfortunately, I had to watch it a bit later. Too many managers on the shop floor. That's why I didn't text you back. So I normally, take the piss if you like, but I couldn't this time. There was too many people about. Up at Glasgow, mate, the Braehead Arena, EBU featherweight title on the line, the proper one. This was obviously a WBC eliminator between Scotland's unbeaten Nathaniel Collins and unbeaten Spaniard, the current European champion, Cristobal Lorente. This was the main event up in Scotland. we know that Nathaniel Collins is ranked #1 with the WBC. So it's an eliminator that is highly likely if they do run it back, which obviously me and David speak about. There's a fight with Ray Vargas or a fight with Shushu Carrington's, 2 interim champions there before anybody gets to Stephen Fulton. As I said, we didn't preview or review. Well, we'll review it now. We didn't preview this one, Dave. I think I'm kind of glad that we didn't, in a sense, because I would have kind of poo-pooed Lorente for not doing enough homework on him.
Yeah.
You know, Collins is probably one of the best fighters, not just in Scotland, but in the UK at the moment. The way he went through Lee McGregor and became kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Noticed in the boxing world that he's going to go on and do things, being highly ranked as well. I thought it'd be a very easy victory. How wrong was I? To be honest, both having their moments, started fast, Dave. But I did pick up on what you said, what you texted me during that fight when I watched it. Collins is going to punch himself out here. And I think you're right. I think if he didn't punch himself out, I think we don't see a draw. I think we get a Collins win. But you were spot on, mate. When I watched it back, I thought, yeah, this is literally like when it came to the middle rounds, I thought this is what Dave's on about. Too many shots. He's trying to force the fight. He's looking for the knockout and it's not coming. Whereas Lorente kind of seemed to have the gas tank, had a game plan A, had a game plan B, and kind of took the back end of the fight as well. So I've got no problem with the draw at all, mate. What did you think? I kind of know what you think, but for the masses, like Collins against Lorente.
We talk about European champions. Sometimes they come over and they're absolute stinkers, and you think, how has this happened? You think, how are they European champions? See this guy Lorente here. He's one of them ones, a proper European champion. Who comes over and is a stiff test when you're coming through from doing, the English title, the British title, and you go in with a proper European. And we've had many a fighter stumble at that hurdle. Lewis Ritson, I'd always go on about him, but this happened to him. He won the British title outright, clean sweep of the British contenders, and then he got put in with a proper European champion and come up short. And Collins nearly came up with the same. And it's more to do with Collins. Lorente was a good, solid fighter, but he's beatable for me. And it was all about game plan. Now, for me, Collins got drawn into a fight that he didn't need to have. Now, it could have been the fact that it was a homecoming. It was Scotland. There was all talk at the start of it. Who's going to be the new King of Scotland?
Yeah.
Because Josh Taylor's there. I think that played a part in the performance. Because when it came to quality, Collins showed many times that he had the quality there, the quality shots. He just got drawn into Lorente's fight. And in round 6, which was a great round, and it was a great round, he was going for a knockout that he didn't need to do, and he was nowhere near getting. He never buzzed Lorente at any point in the fight. So it seemed to me crazy that he's still in the first half of the fight, and you're throwing at the kitchen sink at it.
I thought he built up a good lead, Dave. Collins. Going into the 6th, and then he kind of went backwards.
And the minute he wanted to stand his ground and show his toughness, and that was when he started to lose rounds. Now, and that's why that fight ended up being as close as it was. I've got no problem. I'm with you. I've got no problem with split draw. Yeah. I did think that Collins was going to get it by about a round, but it was more to do with Collins and the way that he approached the fight. He was being told by his corner as well not to get involved. He doesn't need to, because he could have boxed his way to a solid points win. He got drawn. I think the moment and everything around it drew him into that fight, and that's why he's not European champion today. So it was more that for me. Quality wise, he was a lot better. He's got a lovely jab. He can box and move. And I think he was going for something that wasn't there. And
he's a good southpaw, isn't he? He's a good southpaw.
He's a very good fighter. I just think the occasion got to him. I think he wanted to go in there, have the breakout night.
The moment,
in Scotland, he gets a knockout. He's European champion. He's #1 with the WBC. The next thing we're going for a world. So, it was all written there for him to do it. And I think the occasion caught up with him. And like I say, he blew his gasket in round 6, and then it became hard in the second half of that. That's an experience for me. If they run this back, which I expect him to do, I think Collins goes into it completely different. He won't get drawn into that, and he'll win the way that he should have won it at the first fight, I believe. But it's a rematch that he didn't really need to have. You know, he's now got to have another fight. He does, he doesn't, because he is number one. But I think they'll run this back. But he's now having a fight that he was probably not expecting to have. He's probably having this fight, and then this world, it's fringe world, or it's world, eliminate or whatnot.
Called,
all that sort of business. But it's more his own doing, and I think it's a little bit of an experience. Like I say, he got involved in something he didn't need to. I know, these fighters, they do want to prove their toughness, but Collins is better than that. Listen, he is tough, and he can take a shot, and he proved he can stand his ground against a real tough opponent in Lorente. But he didn't need to have that fight. And it's cost him the European title for me.
Yeah, unless it's ordered again, mate. I don't know if he'll touch that. Unless he wants to prove something to him that I'm better than this. I didn't think about it, to be honest. Now you said about it, the occasion, the King of Scotland thing. There
was a big thing said about it.
Yeah, there was, and it kind of makes sense now. Forcing the knockout when he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see comments on, obviously it's opinion based. Everyone's entitled to their comments and things. But I've seen things about Lorente being robbed, and I'm not too sure about that. But
no.
He did have his moments, and again, if you break the fight down, as I said, I thought he was in a comfortable lead, Collins, and then after round 6, he kind of dealt with the southpaw style really well. I thought Lorente. I do think he needs to get his props, because whether you think Collins fucked it up himself, Lorente still got to do his own work.
Yeah,
he won his rounds. He landed.
He was solid.
He was solid. Yeah, it was a hard night's work, man. That's why I don't think. That's why I don't. Sorry, mate. That's why I don't think Collins will go there again. I don't think he will. I think he'll bypass the European title. Yeah,
possibly. Like I say, he was solid, Lorente. Like, there was not any point in the fight, or even in a rematch, that I think Collins will stop him. He stood centre of the ring. He didn't do anything like razzle-matazzle. It was just solid boxing. He got caught with shots, but he landed some good shots. But he was compact. He was on the front foot. He was the one putting the pressure on in the back end of the fight, and that's where he won rounds as well, because he was the aggressor. But he was a proper European championship level opponent for me, and they're rare now. They used to be that. There used to be a difference when you stepped up from British to European, and then from European, that was a stepping stone. And if you got through that, you were world level. And then over the years, that's sort of gone away. And some of the European champions have been sketchy. You think, what? They're getting blasted out in 2 rounds. Lorente was the first time one I've seen in quite a while that I looked as soon as the fight started, I thought, he's solid here. This is what a proper European champion and European test should and was. So I liked it, because I do believe that when you are building a fighter, when you do go from British to European to world, they're invaluable. That you get through them tests at European, you're ready, and that for me was the highlight of that. And that's why I enjoyed that fight more than I know I was going to enjoy it anyway. But I liked it because of that, because I was looking at it from that angle. I said it to you. This is a proper Europe. I messaged you, didn't I? This is a proper European champion. I liked it, because that's how I remember European title fights to be. And I know the last few years they've not been that.
Yeah, it was a good fight, mate. You're right. It was a decent night's boxing, to be fair, up in Scotland. The next one I didn't watch all the fights, to be honest. I saw these the two. I did watch Willy Hutchinson. I've got a lot of love for this guy. I picked there. We're all on board the Hutch Train. Obviously, he calls himself the Hutch Train. From a traveller background, he's Scottish. Talks a bit like Tyson Fury at times, and I kind of feel guilty a little bit, mate, because the way he boxes. By the way, that's a horrible style for anyone to deal with, especially something like Mark Jeffers. It's not on, whether you want to call Willy Hutchinson world level or not. He's not on Hutchinson's level at all. It was another kind of chalk and cheese. But what he does, the piss taking that he does, all the dancing and the funny faces and the walking to the side and the kind of Prince Naz style that he does. I don't like watching it when Ben Whittaker does it, but I like it when Willy Hutchinson does it. They're not doing a lot different, but I can't take to Whittaker doing it, taking the piss. But I find it very, very entertaining when Willy Hutchinson does it. I don't know why, mate. There's something about this kid. Yes, we've seen him lose to Boazzi. It was a split decision. And probably Boazzi did clock up a few more rounds. Should have been unanimous. We've been there and done that fight. But this was kind of how he burst onto the scene for boxing fans with the Spider Richards. Now, obviously, Craig Richards is better than Jeffers, in a debate if you want. But there's something about this guy, Dave, that I really, really like. And I messaged you, obviously, on Sunday, I think it was, or Saturday, about matchmaking. Everybody notices on there, I do like to matchmake, where we talk about the fight, then we matchmake. And I just mentioned there against Ben Whittaker, opponents selling things. Ben Whittaker again, he's with Ben Shalom on the BBC. Massive eyeballs, massive profile. Willy Hutchinson against fucking Ben Whittaker. The Pressers pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You want to sell a fight, you want to get eyeballs on your fighter, on your promotional company, whatever. That to me is wankable. That should be to me. That should be the next test for Ben Whittaker, Willy Hutchinson, because he brings a package with him, and he for what it's worth, he's a very, very entertaining fighter. Got a stoppage again. It was one-sided for me. Jeffers was outclassed. Willy Hutchinson was very enjoyable to watch. He to me, he's turned on TV.
Yeah, he is good. Like I say, do you know why you probably enjoy it more? Because it's the way that he looks. He just looks like a normal bloke, and then he goes in there and does them type of things. Ben Whittaker's got all of that, isn't he? Where he's brash out the ring, and I know Willy is as well. But because it doesn't annoy me when he does it. I'm with you. It doesn't.
It should be the same.
It should be the same. It should be treated the same. But Willy Hutchinson looks like a bloke that wouldn't do it. That's why I think it is. When you look at him as a normal bloke, he looks like a bloke that wouldn't fight like. Where you look at Ben Whittaker, he's a good-looking fella. He loves himself. Willy doesn't look like he loves himself. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why when they do it, if he does it, you quite like it. But going on to the fight, I felt Mark Jeffers was so one-dimensional. Very robotic.
How do you fight against that style, Dave? He
know.
There's so many different angles. It's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. I kind of feel sorry for him a little bit because you're training for a style, but he's got multiple styles, isn't he, Willy?
Yeah, he has. And I say, so he probably made Mark Jeffers look that way by the way that he was fighting. But I was feeling the frustration for Mark Jeffers in the end because he went forward with a high guard, but he was just following around the ring like Ivan Drago. When he first fights Apollo Creed, and he's all stiff But it's very much like that. But it was classes apart. Great stoppage for Willy Hutchinson. He is, like I say, in Britain, he does sell himself very well, and he's a good fighter to boot. He's a good fighter as well. And it's big fight. It's big, especially big domestic fights. I like the Whittaker fight. I think that they'll wind each other up in the ring. They'll do things against each other. And
I kind of worry. It's a brilliant fight, but I kind of worry on not so much. Obviously, Willy Hutchinson has tasted defeat now with Boatsy at a higher level. I kind of worry if Ben Shalom is still trying to build that profile of Whittaker carefully. It could be a too much of a risk to put him in with Willy.
I don't think at the minute it's probably probably a bigger step than Liam Cameron. It's a way bigger step than Liam Cameron. But I feel like you can't go really from Liam Cameron to Willy. I think there needs to be an in between, which is why I don't think it will happen just yet. Because Willy is, he's a really good fighter. Ben Whittaker is still on the way up, and again, he's not active enough for me. I know Ben Shalom's gone through some bits and pieces with like leaving Sky now with BBC, but that lull in between with Adam Azim's not been out. We ain't seen many of his fighters. I think they're suffering for that. But I think that's a big jump and I don't see it just yet for Ben Whittaker. But when it does happen, and I can see it happening. I can see it happening in the future because I feel like Willy will be there when Ben Whittaker gets there. You know what I mean? So I do believe that will be a fight that happens.
He's waiting for him.
Yeah, maybe. But you're right. You're right there, though. The press conference will be box office.
Yeah, but mate, if you look at the WBC rankings, Willy's 8 and Ben's 9. So that's you. Even if you're an old leech like Mauricio Zilliman and you're looking for your 3%, you just throw that as a fucking eliminator, didn't you?
Yeah.
You put it as an eliminator because you know there's going to be eyeballs on it and people are going to pay to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As an eliminator. So it's I'm glad to see Willy back. That was his first fight this year since Boatsy lost, and he's very, very entertaining. I've got a lot of time for him. Right, just quickly, mate. I did not see this, but I read about it and heard about it. You were watching the whole cards. The vacant British lightweight belt was on the line between Regan Glackin and Louis O'Doherty. Did you see that British title fight?
Yeah, I did. I see bits of it. Yeah, I did see it.
10th round TKO. I'm gutted I haven't watched it because we always wax lyrical about British title fights, etc. But that was supposed to be a very, very good fight. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. Maybe that is one to go back and watch, especially for
Yeah, I'll have
ourselves.
to go back and it was one of them ones that were on when I was mooching around, so I had it on in the background. Yeah. So to be honest, I'll have had to look at it again properly.
Yeah, but we will bring you. We'll go back and watch that, and because a lot of people are talking about it. It's been such a busy weekend with me drinking and whatnot. So I'm trying to fit everything in, doing like notes and research and things like that. So yeah, and before I ask you for your performance of the last 2 weekends, did you notice on this Scottish card it was about all the juniors? So we had Drew Limond on there, obviously son of the late Willy. We had Alex Arthur Jr. on there, and obviously in his corner, we had Steve Collins Jr. on there as well. I'm not too sure about Steve Collins Jr. He's definitely not a chip off the old block, but I like what I see from Drew Limond.
He got beat, didn't he? He got beat in every round as well against a journeyman.
Yeah,
Steve Collins Jr. But
Drew Limond looks pretty tasty. He was on the prelims. He's one to watch, Drew Limond. But
makes you feel old, doesn't it? When all these youngsters are coming through and they're from fighters that we used to watch when we were younger.
I know. Michael Gomez against Alex Arthur. I always remember that.
Brilliant, yeah.
That fight. But yeah, mate. So from what we had, performance of the weekends, which way are you going? We've waxed lyrical about cut the fighters, what they've done and what not, and what they should have or shouldn't have done. Who gets your vote, mate?
I'm gonna go for Willy. I like a bit of Willy.
I was going to say I bet you do, but I'd be surprised if you do.
Well, I'll try anything once. But well, you get or Tysie. You could have gone for Tysie. She was good.
Yeah, she was good. Yeah, I think I'll go for Tysie. Stanionis as well. One-sided beatdown.
But that was sort of expected.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so I'll go Tysie. You go for a bit of Willy. So yeah, for what it was, there's some good performances over the last 2 weekends, mate. So yeah, we're getting into we're into October now, so there's a lot more juicy stuff coming up, and especially this weekend as well, which we're going to do a second episode, put it out Thursday. You guys be listening to this now on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. We've got a good 5 fights to get stuck into. But before we get into our next episode, here we go. It's your turn, mate.
Yeah. So it's David McDonald and the Dongs. Right, so this is 2 weeks worth of news. So here we go. Jack Catchell will now be trained by Derek Boozy Ennis, father of Jaron Boots Ennis in Philadelphia moving forwards. Yeah, so Jack has got is parted ways with Jamie Moore. And he is now over in the States working with Jaron Boots Ennis, his father. We've had a little speak about this, me and yourself, and we're hoping it might change his style. Now, but can you teach an old dog new tricks, David Graham? Thoughts?
Do you think he's finally realised the penny's dropped that he's boring?
Yeah, well, I think he knows that because I've seen people giving him a bit of jip on Twitter, and he hasn't answered them. So the boring sort of thing he knows about, doesn't he? But I think he needs to. I mean,
to add something, doesn't he? He does need to add that.
He does need that finishing touch to become a world champion if he can.
Look what Boozy Ennis is doing with Andy Cruz. No, I'm still not convinced. I know he's turning Andy Cruz into a puncher, but what we have noticed with Andy Cruz, he plants his feet and leaves himself open. Now, if Jack Catchell is going to do that as well, I mean, Jack Catchell, mate, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm just, when you try and visualize how somebody fights, Jack's very one-dimensional, but it's very effective at what he does. I can't see him standing there trading.
No,
I don't know. I hope it does work because
it's intriguing.
He's a world-class fighter.
Yeah,
he does need that something, but
he can't completely change his style.
No,
he can't. He's fought that way his whole career. I'm sure back in the amateurs and that when he was doing that, he's probably fought in a similar way. For him to completely change his style, I can't see it. Does he need to adjust it? I certainly think he does, but I feel like when the going gets tough, he's going to revert to type because you go back to what you know. So it's intriguing to see. Now it depends on an opponent he goes in because if he got an opponent that he's expected to beat and he can go on the front foot, it might give him a false sense of security that this is now the way that I'm going to fight, and then he'll get found out as he goes up in levels. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how he's going to be. Because again, I asked you the question. You can't teach an old new tricks, and I don't see how his style can completely change and it be effective. And if he does come under fire, he's going to go back to type.
Yeah, I can see it as well. I just made the comparison there with Andy Cruz. He's
Yeah.
getting, because of the level of opponent Cruz has been facing as well. He knows he's miles better than him. He's getting greedy as well, and sometimes he gets hit, and his chin is held holding up so much. For now, it's when you step up in levels and you do get cracked by a better opponent. But it's learning curves as well. Obviously, he's a lot younger than Jack. But yeah, I do wish him. We laughed and joked and poo-pooed and things like that. But I wish him all the best of luck. If it does bring that Ed extra, look what Buzianis has done for his own son. I mean, his son's fighting this weekend. 30, what is he, 34 and 30 wins or something. So there is something there. He's one of the best trainers in the world. He's got lots of recommendations and things like that. So if he can add that string to his bow, then fair play to him. But if he can't, like you just said there, we'll probably watch a fight Jack Catchall, look at him trading, might get caught cold and think. Well, like you said, we said this on the podcast, you can't teach a new dog, an old dog new tricks, but we're just surmising. So I wish him the best of luck, mate. But it'd be interesting to see who he gets and where he gets. I mean, obviously he's with Boozy. You think now, obviously, Matt Truby will be on one of these Wells Fargo's Philadelphia cards, wouldn't you? Going forward on a boot tennis card, So they're in the same division as well now. I think he's moved up, Jack Catchall as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's moved up to 154, or was it 147 he's at? I know he's moved up a weight anyway, but
yeah. 147, I think he's at,
147, yeah.
Right, so announced, Tenshin Nasukawa will face Takumi Inoue for the vacant WBC Bantamweight World title on 24th of November in Tokyo. The former kickboxing sensation will get his first shot at a world title against former champion and brother of pound-for-pound star Naoya Inoue. So
I said this would happen.
Yeah, little brother Inoue
is
out.
I said this would happen. I said he would get a world title shot based on his popularity.
Yeah.
He's massive over in Japan. And I was talking more going down the Nakatani route. But obviously, Nakatani's now moving up to Inoue's division. This is a good fight. And I kind of fear for little brother Inoue. I do. Yeah. The name doesn't carry enough for me. He's nowhere near as skillful and as good as his brother. He's a good fighter, but there's something about this Japanese kid, / kickboxer, / professional boxer now. There's something about him. He doesn't fight like a Japanese fighter as well, does he? He fights more like an American. He's got that lateral slick style as well. His shot selection, his accuracy. He's got the yellow hair. He's brash. For them over there, he is a superstar. He's like a godlike star. They don't just turn out for Nakatani or Inoue. They turn out for Tenshin as well. I think it's a really good fight. I can see him beating it at Inoue, mate.
I agree. They're putting a lot into him. And,
they are. He's very sellable, isn't he? Over there, he is. People in the West don't know him, but they know him over there. It's like Inoue, like a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
People outside boxing don't even know who he is. I think I find that fucking criminal. But that's just the way it is. He's not sold over in the West. I mean, people aren't going to know about him. So we don't know much about Tenshin, but we do our homework, 9 times out of 10. But yeah, I think it's a cracking fight, and I'm looking forward to that. And I think he's got enough to, even at, what's he now, 5-6-0? I think he's got enough there to, from what I've seen, what we've seen, to beat little brother Inoue. And to get a world title shot based on lack of boxing experience and knowledge shows how much they think of him. Whether he sells a few tickets, we know that's involved. WBC, Dave, 3% for Suleiman. It all makes sense. But with that, he is a good fighter. I've been very, very impressed with his kind of transition from kickboxer to boxer,
Yeah, like I say, you have waxed lyrical about him, and it's looking like he's being primed for being the next star. Japanese style, Inoue, Nakatani, they're not going to go on forever. I know Nakatani's 27, but Inoue's not going to go on forever. So this seems to be the next one that's coming through. Is going to be the next Japanese superstar, and I'm with you. I think it's primed for him to become a world champion. So this has rumbled on for a little while, but it looks like we got a date and it's set to go. So Brian Matthias is set to defend his WBC super lightweight world title against Dalton Smith on January 10th. Seems a long way away since when we first announced it was in New York. Matthias' promoter won the purse bid last month to secure the rights for the fight, a bid of 1.9 million. We don't care. Venue's yet to be determined. So it looks like it's going to be in January. It seems like a long time since we spoke about Dalton Smith and Matthias getting it on. It seems to have rumbled on for a little while, but it looks like the date is set. And we should see if we're going to have another UK world champion. I hope we do.
Well, I said this. I've got receipts for saying this. Do you remember when I said, can you imagine if Dalton Smith gets a world title shot before Jack Catchall?
Yeah, you did. You have got receipts for that.
Hell, yeah, I can't see that happening. It's happened, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, this is a good fight. This is a very, very good fight. The self-proclaimed boogeyman in Matthias seems to be back. I can see a stoppage here. Dalton Smith is going away from home to be world champion. Fair play to him. So you're going to have to see the best version of Dalton Smith ever.
Yeah, you are.
Because Matthias is no fucking joke. Yes, he was beat by Parrow. Parrow had the night of his life that night. You know, he worked him out, he feeding him out, he done what he had to, he old man him at times. But he ain't going to lose again. And he's not going to lose against somebody like Dalton Smith, who, no disrespect to Dalton Smith, I've just spoke about a new way. No one knows about Dalton Smith, especially over in that side of the world in the States and Puerto Rico. Yeah. So, yeah, he'd be looking to do a demolition job, and Dalton Smith will be over there to win a title. Again, I think it's great matchmaking. I'm glad the purse bids have gone through, and the match is going to, the world title fight is going to take place. And I'd like to think as well, Dave, if Dalton Smith does win that title, it can propel an Adam Azim Dalton Smith. It's one of those junior witters, Ricky Hatton, that got away from us. I don't want that to get away from us. We need Adam Azim versus Dalton Smith. If it's all world title, even better. Again, the BBC. It's a boxer fight on the BBC. World title fight on the BBC.
Yeah, well, what my worry is, it'll be on Riyadh. Yeah,
more than likely. But yeah, you never know. But yeah, I'll be rooting for Dalton Smith. He's got a great opportunity now. But this is a tough task for him. It really is.
It is a tough fight. Yeah, it is a tough fight. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll wait till next year though. It's unbelievable. Rafael Espinoza is set to defend his WBO featherweight world title against Arnold Kaigai in November 15th in Mexico. Not so sure about his opponent, but it's nice to see Rafael Espinoza out again.
Yeah, it's not one of the unification fights you want in that division, is it?
No,
I'm guessing it's to do with top ranks. Remember, obviously, Oscar Valdez fought in Mexico the other week, didn't he? Kind of co-promoted with Top Rank. They haven't got a TV deal, so maybe Espinoza's keeping busy by fighting this random guy, getting a world title shot in Mexico, wherever it is. But yeah, good to see him out, mate. It's not the fight we wanted. We want a Nick Ball fight. We want an Angelo Leo fight, you know?
Yeah.
But they're not been getting made, so which I'm quite surprised at, because obviously Angelo Leo is Top Rank as well, and so is Shaki Foster. So those fights you would think would be easier to make, but because they've got no TV deal, the money's not there, the eyes aren't there. No one will be watching this outside of Mexico. So, yeah,
exactly. But like I say, it'd be good to see him out. I don't see any sort of jeopardy in this fight, but you never know. Mexico do throw up some strange ones, and their fighters are from a different breed. So, hopefully, I'm hoping it'll be a good fight. But I like this, and I'm sure you feel the same. We wax lyrical about this guy quite a lot on here. Isaac Pitbull Cruz will face Lamont Roach Jr. in a 140-pound fight on December 6th in San Antonio. I like this. But like I say, you know what you're going to get from Pitbull Cruz. He always brings it. I think we've said this on here, his boxing's underrated. People just think that he's a fighter, but he's not. He picks his shots very well. He's all action, and he's exactly what it says on the tin. He's a Pitbull. Against Laurent Roach, who had a good performance against Gervonta Davis. They're looking like they're going to run that back, but now there's a silly fight that means that this is not happening. So these two are coming together. And I like this fight. So December 6th, mate, we'll definitely be tuned into that one. And I'm sure he always brings fireworks, Pitbull Cruz. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah, he's literally stepping in now, isn't he? Pitbull Cruz. He's stepping in from the gap left from Tank. Tank's going over to make fucking stupid money against Jake Paul, and obviously Lamont Roach needs an opponent, and it's a great opponent. It's a great fight. Yes, it's PPC on Amazon Prime. It'll be pay-per-view, but so what? Isaac Cruz is someone you pay. We've said it so many times when he fights. If you're going to pay to watch a fighter fight, when you know what they're bringing to the table every time, you pay for Isaac Cruz, because he comes forward, he throws lots of shots, he's educated, former world champion, he's brilliant to watch. Love it. I'm well up for that. And Lamont Roach is he's come to the forefront of people's attention as well. He was supposed to get knocked out by Tank. He was too small, moving up in weight, all this kind of jazz. Really, we all know he probably did enough to beat Tank that night.
Yeah.
So again, two completely different styles. Will they clash? Will they see each other out? Will they gel? Let's hopefully they do. Because PBC don't put on a lot of shows anymore. They keep a lot of it in house. But the fights they do put on, whether people want to poo-poo them or not, I do think they put on some good matchmaking, and that to me is a great bit of matchmaking. Whether it's intended or not, I don't care. I'll be definitely watching that.
I'm going to give you like an hard-on when it comes to fights this weekend, David McDonald. Listen to this one, and listen, we may have spoken about this before.
What sort of hard-on is it? Are you going to metaphorically, or are you going down the female boxing?
No, you're going to get a proper stiffy here, proper stiffy. The IBF have ordered Raymond Moratella to defend his lightweight world title against Andy Cruz.
Yeah. I've been turned on by more before, but I get what you mean.
Well, I'm just that's 2 fights there that give you the horn.
Yeah. But I have read. I know that Moratella's on about vacating the belt, but I don't know if that's clickbait. Why would Moratella? Why would he vacate the belt? He's only just become champion, and you want to test yourself against the best. It's a great fight. And yes, I just spoke about Andy Cruz. This is the test now as well, because if he wants to trade with Moratella, Moratella's world class. And if he gets caught by Moratella, he could get sparked out. He could get knocked out. But if Andy Cruz reverts to type, he could box his fucking head off.
Yeah,
2 different styles, but this would be very, very interesting if it is made. It's a great fight because Moratella he'll fancy a trading war. Come on, then.
Oh, he will. Yeah, definitely. I'll
stand there and trade. Yeah, you're not used to this. You're not used to this level of opponent. You've been fighting bums. Fight me in the middle of the ring, and I don't know if Andy Cruz would.
No. That's what I mean. That's a real good fight because they both can box as well. I think we talk about Moratella going through people, but he's boxing. He can box as well. And Andy Cruz, yes, we've spoken about his style changing slightly under Ennis's father. But I think that if he goes in there and tries to do that and realizes it's not, he can go on and start boxing, and he's got different styles that he can do. So it's a great fight. That I'm all over that. And
they're coming thick and fast now, aren't they? The fights.
They are.
Anywhere.
And my last piece of news tonight, and it's one for the ladies. The First Lady retires as champion. The legend Cecilia Breakhouse defeats Emma Kozin for the unified WBC, WBO Superweight World titles in her final fight in her home country of Norway. That must have happened today because it was the last piece of news that I'd picked up. So she has retired, Cecilia Breakhouse. She's been fantastic for women's boxing. If they ever do a Hall of Fame or whatnot, your Katie Taylor's in there, the Grota be in there. But Cecilia Breakhouse, she's been fantastic for women's boxing.
She came before them, hence the First Lady, isn't it? So.
Exactly. So, but it's now on the news that she has retired after winning her last fight in her home country. So, yeah, thanks for the memory, Cecilia. No, I didn't either until it came up on the news. But she's retired. So that is it for David McDonald and the Dongs.
Now you say that, mate. I'm sure I saw something that Jalalov's fighting tonight over in Russia.
You're joking.
I think so. He's in an 8-rounder over in Russia.
For fuck's sake! Like I say, that is the most weirdest promotion he's ever. I can't work him out. I'd love to shake him and go, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah,
he's a great fighter, and he could be a problem. But the problem is fucking getting him to fight or getting him on TV or getting him anywhere.
I'll double check that when I'll come off air and then go back on. I'm sure he's fighting tonight or tomorrow, or he's involved in a fight in Russia over 8 rounds. I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
But that's it, mate. We've done performance of the weekends. We've done David McDonald. We've covered everything, and we're going to do our previews going into next week now. So I'll end it here, mate. End of episode 148. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you're not, just do it anyway. And we'll be back on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday, put this out. So, have a great week. Stay safe. And Dave, I'll see you in a minute, mate. Masses, peace out.
See you, mate.